How are you doing, guys? ZDEyE here. So I definitely wanted to touch on this information regarding that Insomniac Games is in fact working yet on another AAA game. It's like these guys are damn wizards. Like the amount of stuff that they can pull off is genuinely incredible. You know, like within a decade, even less than a decade, they already came out with 6 or plus more games anyway, right? Like in 2016, Ratchet & Clank reboot, right? 2018, Spider-Man, 2020, Spider-Man Miles Morales, 2021, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, 2023 will be upcoming, of course, after Spider-Man 2, and presumably, of course, maybe like 2024, maybe 2025, Wolverine, and then 2025, 2026, with this unannounced AAA game will most likely be releasing as well. Now, unfortunately, we do not know if, like, what's going to be based on, but we can make few guesses. As an example, that if you guys did not know, Insomniac Games have been hiring for quite some time, related towards something to do with the multiplayer project. And as you guys are aware, well, they have not been making anything related towards multiplayer. Now, they have some experience to do with the multiplayer projects, such as, for example, Sunset Overdrive, and also a lot more, well, perhaps known in terms of its multiplayer capabilities, Resistance. Now, I think that, obviously with the push that live servicing games that PlayStation has been going about, well, it makes sense why Insomniac perhaps at least have one studio that will be concentrating towards the multiplayer. And perhaps whatever this multiplayer is, will be sustained in terms of the live service. And this one studio is going to be concentrating all their gears towards that one multiplayer project. Now, the rest of the studios, because it seems like, well, as to my knowledge, I haven't really researched this, but Insomniac has like 3 different studios. One is working on Spider-Man 2, the other is working on Wolverine, and the third one, as we are reporting about it, is working on the multiplayer project. And as such, if they want to make, well, at least if PlayStation wants to make a live service title, this means that they would need to sustain this project and constantly feeding it, right? With new content could be releasing constantly, with of course quality included. And if one studio has that, this is good news, but it still remains to be seen what would that be, right? Will it be a Resistance coming back? Will it be maybe Sunset Overdrive, maybe on PlayStation? I don't know, obviously, but or perhaps maybe there's something completely new, or maybe they're implementing from like Spider-Man multiplayer, and they're gonna have like different many Spider-Mans that you can play within the world of New York and stuff like that, and there's like, you know, extra things you can do within there, or perhaps maybe something related towards Ratchet & Clank, or maybe completely brand new IP as well. It's very, very possible. It's genuinely is interesting how and what kind of direction do they decide to go, right? It's just also, I think this person's gonna be a little bit of a trouble because like they practically announced the third project that's basically coming by the name, well, Insomniac Game Project Director Aaron Eberhardt, hopefully I'm not butchering the name, and been like basically mentioning all this, that, you know, there's a third project is coming up, is the first that is actually, well, and I quote, "This is actually my first AAA game project now. I'm the project director here on an unannounced project." So yeah, this is genuinely interesting because may get a little bit of trouble as well. I'm sure that Sony or PlayStation would have actually liked to keep it as a secret as long as possible. Same thing goes for Insomniac, and you know, have like a big reveal for this. But now since we know that Insomniac is making something else, and you know what, it makes sense, right? Because how studio has been going about, it seems like, you know, first group has been making Spider-Man 2018, the second group has been working practically at the same time, or at least right after they've been working on Miles Morales. And yet the third project, well, third studio was working also on the Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. And you see, like, they're kind of capable of actually having so many projects coming out so damn quickly. Man, PlayStation has done an incredible job of acquiring this studio. Seriously, these guys are wizards, because like Bethesda can't even come out with one damn game within a decade. Like, that's insane, right? It's the same thing with Rockstar. Now, Rockstar is a different situation because they are concentrating all towards the quality, and I mean such a polish to the degree it's absolutely ludicrous, right? That Bethesda can never hope to achieve. It's genuinely incredible incredible how Rockstar is capable of pulling this off, like having fucking your horse testicles get like enlarged or shrunk during the weather, the grease and stuff. It's hot, it gets larger. If it's cold, it gets like smaller. You see, like the attention to the detail is genuinely like enormous. And of course, with the coming up of the Grand Theft Auto 6, they have all their manpower going towards that game. So this is why I say that we can't really make that kind of comparison in terms of the Rockstar and Insomniac, because Insomniac doesn't concentrate on that little minute details like that. And don't get me wrong, it's not as if they don't completely. They do in a lot of aspects. But like, this is why it's easier for me to compare with Bethesda, because, well, they make ginormous big games, open world. Well, what are you talking about? As if Insomniac doesn't do open world games as well, like they've done with the Spider-Man. Now, of course, I can definitely see how they can cheat or make little shortcuts. We're seeing quite constantly first development that they made of Spider-Man 2018, and they made the New York their world, right? Insomniac's New York. And now they're reusing that quite a lot of times. With Spider-Man Miles Morales, that's been reused. Obviously, it's been upgraded in a lot of cases, but now it's been reused again for Spider-Man 2, even though it was expanded upon. Yet you have to understand they're still reusing similar assets that they already had. So it's genuinely interesting. Now they are making a strides towards differences and including extra content, but also a lot of people, and I've seen this in the comments, man, especially with this. What's Elon Musk is doing with his Twitter thing? He's calling it an X.com now. What's with this thing? I'm looking at it. It doesn't even. I don't know. It's a weird decision move. But either way, like I'm seeing on X.com or Twitter, so-called. Well, a lot of people in my comments as well saying like, well, you're only happy because they're PlayStation exclusive. They're making the same shit again and again, and you're gonna be always fine with that. But we have to understand, like everybody has to understand this. They're making fantastic games. If it would have been bad games and they would have been releasing it, then yeah, everybody would have been upset. But they're making incredible games. Spider-Man 2, of course, Miles Morales, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and stuff like that, right? And Wolverine coming up. It's like, what else would you want? Do you know what I mean? It's not as if I'm not looking forward to it. It's actually awesome. I'm looking forward to it because we know for a fact it's going to be quality. We know it's going to be fantastic. We know it's Insomniac because they already have a fantastic reputation. And they're keeping at it. It's genuinely incredible. So I say, let them reuse the assets. It's a sequel, goddammit. It makes sense. There's a standalone game like Miles Morales. Obviously, you will have to use some of the similar assets that was used in 2018 of Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2 in a similar case. It's a sequel. Right? It makes sense. I don't know why people always try to argue and say like, as long as it's the same thing, you're just gonna eat it up. Dude, because it is the same thing, because it is the same fantastic quality, obviously everybody's gonna eat this up. If you want to get always a brand new thing and it's only disappointment or you don't know what to expect, even from very reliable developers. For example, The Last of Us Part 1, right? The PC version of it, even though it wasn't made by Naughty Dog, by the other studio, the PC version, that was a disappointment. Like, it was a whole lot of broken port. But like, it was not as simple as like, for example, give it to Naughty Dog and let them, make it best as possible. Or for example, in this case, like Rockstar has stumbled upon actually, for some dumbass reason, maybe it was Take-Two's decision to give the assets, to give the IP, the Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas to a different studio, but not Rockstar. And because this studio, Grove Street Studio, has ruined pretty much the reputation of Grand Theft Auto and Rockstar, and it wasn't even Rockstar's fault. In fact, I have heard that Rockstar were the ones that were pretty much fixing all the shit that, Grove Street has made. You see, like, it's easy to ruin the reputation of many of, it's not even when you're expecting too much out of them, but yet also what Insomniac does it and how quickly they do it, and having 3 different teams and studios that are actually capable of pulling off, I'm gonna say it, masterpieces of different levels, and they're not all the same games. It's genuinely is like jaw dropping, genuinely is, and kudos, applause, seriously, they deserve it. Man, I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait to see what they got in store for us. Alright guys, like and subscribe. See you guys all later. Have a wonderful day.